Hey guys, welcome back to Sarah's Southern Garden. I garden in Zone 8, formerly Zone 7B. I'm just northwest of Atlanta, Georgia, and today we're getting the rose garden ready for winter. So every year here we get a cold snap, at least 3 or 4 days where we're like 8-10 degrees or so, usually at night, but it can really do a lot of damage if you are planting, if I was planting for Zone 8, it would take out a lot of my plants. That's why I stick with 7B, which was the previous planting zones that the USDA had out from 2013 on up to 2023. So check those out for your zone. But we're gonna get these guys ready for winter. Now what I do when I plant them, this is a newly planted rose. I planted it a few weeks ago. I like to get them in the ground 5 to 6 weeks before our average first frost date. Even though the frost dates here, it doesn't get very cold for quite a while. But still, it's a good rule of thumb just to have them in the ground 5 to 6 weeks before your first frost. And what I do when I plant them is I dig a 24 by 24 inch playing hole and I take out the native soil. Now this is a flower bed that has already been amended, but I've planted lots of things on our property that were in soil that was not amended, and it's that wonderful red Georgia clay. Not a lot will grow in that. Pine trees obviously like it, but anyway. So what I do is dig out that 24 by 24 inch hole and I backfill it. And I do that even in this amended garden bed because I know that if I'm putting in that proper mixture, it's gonna be what the roses want or whatever plant I'm planting. But for the roses, I do a mixture of 1/3 black cow. So this, you can find it everywhere from Lowe's to Home Depot to Walmart. I think Amazon has it too. 1/3 black cow. It's usually about $3.99 a bag at the big box stores. And I do 2/3 of good bad garden soil. And I've used everything from Stay Green to Miracle Grow. It really doesn't matter if you have a favorite garden soil. You can use the organic stuff. The NPK value on those is so low, it's really not going to affect your rose. I've never had any trouble with it. I know there are some big growers out there that tell you to use, for baby roses that are about a year old, to use organic garden soil with absolutely no fertilizer. So do with that what you will. I've never had a problem with it, honestly, myself. So I use an old container like this to measure out the ratio, and I do 1/3 black cow, and then I do 2/3 of the good bad garden soil, and I just keep going till I get that hole filled up, and then I plant my rose in that. And then I finish with mulch on the top. I just use pine bark mulch. Some people like to use the pine needle. There's a couple other variations out there. And then just make sure that when you do put it down that you leave a ring free around the base of your rose, about 4 inches. And that just keeps any decaying mulch from possibly transferring disease into your rose canes. So I've never had that happen either, but it can happen, so why not just try to avoid it, So we are going to add an extra layer of mulch today to get these ready for winter, 2 to 3 inches, because it's pretty mild winter here generally. And the other thing that I also do in the fall is for my roses that have been here for say a year or more, I will go ahead and give them a fresh layer of the black cow. I'll scrape off the old mulch that was there, take that, throw that somewhere else, put it in my compost pile, and then I'll do the black cow around the drip line, and then go back over that with a layer of fresh mulch. And it cuts down on the black spot by putting down that fresh mulch. Even for next growing season, it's going to cut it down. And the other thing that it does is, of course, keep that black cow there. So when you're watering your plants, it's going to slowly release some good nutrients into that rose. And it's also a really great way to fertilize your roses in the fall when you know that your frost date is coming up. It's a very mild fertilizer. It's not going to make them go crazy wild with new growth, but just give them a little bit for their fall flush. And here where I garden, we definitely get the fall flushes, at least 2 of them in the fall, and my roses do need a little bit of, a little bit of food to keep going before their frost date. So we're gonna work on getting this bed ready for winter, and hopefully you take some of these tips and get your roses ready for winter too, and I'll let you guys just come along and watch us. You know, a lot of people say the roses are hard to grow, and you know, honestly, they're not the easiest plant, but they're not that bad. You just gotta buy the right roses for your area, and sometimes that can take a little bit of time to figure it out. I personally don't like taking plants out, and I hear the term shovel pruning. I don't like to do that. I know a lot of rose gardeners do it. If I have one that doesn't perform well, I like to put it into a container and try to baby it and get it to look better. But it is true that there are certain varieties that are going to do better for your region, wherever you live. I garden, of course, as you know, northwest of Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm always trying to find roses I don't have to spray that can look great for me and deal with our heat and humidity. Belinda's Dream is one of the ones I love. You can see a previous video about her. I still have iceberg in my garden. Iceberg really does black spot a lot in the south, but I still have her. But the Cordis roses I find do really well. They do not black spot as much, and I've got Earth Angel back there. I just got Savannah Sunbelt the previous spring. She's been wonderful. And then I have Plum Perfect that I just got, and then what is the other Sunbelt? Sunbelt Safari, I think is the one I got. Safari Sunbelt that I just got. They're supposed to do really great, so I can't wait to see how those do next year. One of them is about to bloom actually now, and it was just planted a few weeks ago, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, we're gonna get to work on these guys and give them some mulch. And one other thing I want to mention, when you're working with roses, I'm going to link these in the description, not the subscription. We don't have a subscription. These rose gloves are my favorite. They are amazing. They don't dry my hands out like a lot of leather gloves do, and these are leather. They last a lot longer, and I do a lot of, I call it extreme gardening on this property, a lot of dealing with moving rocks and dealing with poison ivy and all of that stuff. And they last a long time. Now I still have to probably buy them 3 times a season, so over 6 months I'm probably gonna buy these 2 or 3 times, but like I said, I do extreme gardening here. They're probably gonna last a lot longer for you if you're not doing some of the stuff I am, digging constantly with your hands. Anyway, but yeah, these are fantastic. I love them. Pro Rose is the name. So yeah, check them out and get some if you don't have any. There's just something about a rose garden, right? I mean, they're like magic, in my opinion. There's a loud car, so let's let that guy go by. Anyway, my grandmother grew Mr. Lincoln, and my mom did too, and I just have been captivated by the scent of roses for as long as I can remember, and I knew that as soon as I had my own property and ability to plant them, that I was going to create a rose garden. Some of the old southern roses that they grew, way back. I've got some of those in my garden, and I just love them. I love the history. I love the idea that they were around a long time ago. I love that some of these roses can actually outlive the gardener. I mean, they live 100 years, some of them. Probably not this variety, this is iceberg, right? But some of the really old heirloom varieties. It's just really neat. One thing about this property is the gardener before me, who owned this property, she loved bulbs, and there are bulbs everywhere, or daffodils everywhere on this property, and I get to enjoy them now. They come back year after year. I haven't had to do anything except enjoy them. That is really cool. We also have a bunch of crinium lilies that border the front of our property, which I will show you in the video one day. But roses are just something, there's something special. So hopefully you fall in love with it like I have, or maybe you already have, and share it with somebody else. Here's my littlest, Miss Adeline Rose. She just loves to see herself in the camera. Well guys, thank you so much for joining us today and watching. If you have a rose garden, I hope that you're getting it ready for winter, and hope that I gave you some good tips to get started. And if you liked this video, please hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up, and we will see ya in the next one.